Hello, everybody. It's your girl, Rhonda Johnson. And in this episode of Girl Absolutely Not, a very special episode where we talk about Cujo behind door number. Why are you so calm about this? Okay, so let me set up the story. If you have not been keeping up with the videos, it's okay, but I need you to go back and watch them now. So in episode 1, I was driving up to a potential sitter, taking everything in, and I see a mattress hanging out. Didn't listen to my thought process and said, yeah, this is not good. So still went up, met the sitter. The sitter had additional dogs there. I knew this was going to happen, even though we discussed them not being there at the time. It's cool. And so while this particular dog, who he said was the friendliest, came out, and I had her, she was a she-dog, female, there we go, greeting my dog. There was a growling, and I don't know who growled. Anyway, go back and watch the episode and get caught up. So here we are now. So I was made aware that there was an unneutered male around. Name's Cujo. That is not the government name. That's the name for our purposes today. The sitter says, oh yeah, he's in the bedroom because he's crazy. He's in the bedroom. The door's closed. He hits the door sometimes, but he can't get out. So I'm thinking back to Kwame, who can get a little crazy sometimes. If I'm not around, he'd be hitting the door like, let me in, let me out, let me in, let me out, something like that. I remember thinking at the time, like, what you mean? Like, you just let him bang on your door? Like, is your door substantial enough? Because, what are we doing? Because, again, we have the littles, we have my dogs, and then we have Cujo back there banging on the door trying to get out. I'm like, I'm taking it in. Maybe at the time I was like, maybe this will turn to content to help somebody else. Because again, the purpose of this channel and the purpose of everything I do is to tell you to trust your gut. If you sense, okay, there's going to be problems, don't just say, okay. No, there are going to be problems and just wrap that thing up and go home. But anyway, so again, he reiterates, he's fine. He's going to be behind the door. And I'm like, I don't know. Because these dogs are strong. I don't know what type of dog Cujo is. My assumption is he's actually Cujo from the 80s movie, which was a St. Bernard. But he could have been a pit. He could have been anything. And all I saw in my mind, which was like, he gets out. Kwame's like, what? Let's scrap fur, flying, teeth, everything. Just mayhem and just anarchy. He also said, yeah, I keep him back there because he's intact. And I'm like, oh, plot thickens. Not necessarily a bad thing, but not the type of situation you would want. You wouldn't want a, unspayed female around an unneutered male. You don't want a neutered male around an unneutered male because it can get real crazy real quick. I'm going to read you some things from my script, which says they'll be more reactive. The potential for them to be these things is higher if they are not neutered, which is more reactive, more territorial, more likely to challenge boundaries and barriers such as doors and other dogs and stuff. Likely to escalate, yes, and more likely to try to knock the dog down and knock the door down and get to whatever they need to get to. So I didn't like that. I didn't go check it out because at that point I'm like, okay, that was really my that big turning point was when it was like intact, probably not in a crate, no structure, no decompression, in the room by himself. Not sure the temperament, potential for badness will ensue. Sounds like, yikes, that's not what I want. Right there. So my lessons. My lesson is, as I always say, this shelter experience, all the things I have coming up, start with trusting yourself as a leader. So again, the sitter was nice. The sitter had a situation set up that was great. All the dogs seemed under control, seemed to be adjusting well, but if you introduce another dog into that, it could cause any type of problems. A dog may hear unfamiliar bark. I believe in smells and pheromones and stuff. They may smell something, be like, yo, who that dude? But the unneutered male can smell something. The neutered male can smell something. And to me, getting those in combination and anxiety, no, not a good thing. I think what got me, and again, this is a trust your gut moment, was the sitter, and we talked about this. The sitter was like, yeah, I keep this dog, I keep that dog, keep this dog, but you've never kept my dogs with these dogs, And I just really thought, just kind of as a sitter situation, that lack of awareness, that lack of sort of like how things could go wrong with that was really alarming to me. Second lesson is just about how I'm doing my thing now and how that inspired me to really think about how to set up a safe environment from jump, so that I am not I'm going to say a point of failure, but I am not the one point of separation or safety between the dogs, because and I've seen it, things can turn so quickly between dogs. They're sitting there chilling, and the next minute, it's just, again, blood, fur, hair, everything, tears, crying, everybody just like, I don't want to see that no more. With my dogs, anybody other, I don't want to see that. One of the things I also want to emphasize is what you can look for in a sitter. And again, my philosophy and what from this situation inspired me to do what I'm doing now. So safety is not an option. Structure is non-negotiable. Okay. Crates are management, not punishment. If you're going to have a place where you're going to leave your dog, I would suggest looking for ways to control the dogs. There's some people who are like, no, the dogs will sleep with me in the bed. I'm like, I don't know. You want my dog to sleep in the bed? I don't know if I like that for anybody, Intact dogs require extra awareness for many reasons, barriers. And again, I didn't go to the back, but I don't think there was a gate. Like I said in my previous video, there wasn't really a place to go walk them. So it's just weird. Don't mix up vibes. Don't mix up a lot of dogs. Like it's a smoothie. You don't want a bunch of dogs in the same space. This dog don't know that dog, blah, blah, blah. It can get really, really, really ugly. And then, of course, saying, oh, he crazy, he behind the door. Don't, no, that's not it. That's not it right there. Okay. So what am I doing? Right. So again, I say, here's the inspiration. Here's what I went through. That inspired me to create a dog park for dogs that like Cujo. Cujo may need to go out, run around a little bit. He don't need to be around other dogs. He just needs to go run around a little bit. He can come here, run around a little bit, do his thing. And him and his parents can go home. You don't have to worry about people having judgment. You have to worry about people being scared. He ain't got to bang on the door. He could just come here, run around, be wild and free, because it's just be him. It would just be him. So it's going to be a solitary park, unless the pet parents want to bring other dogs and they know everybody gets along. It's a place where you can bring big dogs that are under socialized, maybe not neutered, to come and just be dogs and chill out, and you can watch them. It's really great. Just in terms of dog sitting standards, going to have an actual proper setup for the dogs so that we're not mixing and matching. We're not doing weird things, because weird things can happen with dogs. Like I said, I'm at the shelter, and you got, luckily I haven't seen anything happen, but I've seen the potential for things to happen just because people are they're chilling. I'm going to let my dog run around this gate and let your dog run around that gate. I don't think I mentioned this. So nothing happened bad. It's just the potential was what I was thinking about. So one lady took her dog, this is at the shelter. This is a story in a story. So at the shelter, she let her dog run around that she was walking. And then another shelter volunteer came, and they're like, hey, our dogs, let them get some exercise. So they were running along the gate. They were separated. They could kind of get to each other through the little fence, but they didn't really do that. They were just running, and the volunteers were talking, where this other volunteer brought her dog out. And her dog sees the two dogs running because they were younger dogs. Now, I'm sitting over here with, I think I had California Roll at the time. We over there just looking. California was like, man, I'm tired. I said, I know you tired, but I was like, hey, let's watch. So the lady has, actually she has Wolf from last time. Well, Wolf, if you remember, he was in Akita. He yo, and he starts doing dog things, kind of whipping around because he sees the dogs running. The volunteer with the puppy that came to Wolf didn't have the leash and stuff on, so it's kind of hard. If Wolf decided to do something to that dog, it would have been over. Luckily, the volunteer was able to move Wolf out and go out there. I was like, wow, just how quickly. And I mean, she's just normally walking, but she came into my view really quick, and then she came into the puppy's view quick, and the puppy's like, yay. So to prevent all of that, I'm all about distancing and safety and things like that, because to me, you rather have this dog over here safe and then this dog over here, as opposed to, having them in close proximity and then something happens. So yeah, what I wanting to set up with the definitely the dog park, and then what I call my setup, is to avoid that level of foolishness that as a pet parent, when you come to these spaces that I'm creating, you're not going to see a space where the dogs interact unless you specifically want them to. And that's something that we will discuss, because I love dogs, but I know they can get, for whatever reason, it can get really crazy really quick. So that's what I have today. Trust your gut. If there's a dog back there and he's loud and all this stuff like that, or he's showing the potential of Cujo-ness. I never really watched Cujo because it scared me, but I've seen some of the clips and it looks kind of raggedy now. But trust your gut and go with a different sitter. First of all, like, comment, and subscribe, but also keep your eye on me, because I'm going to be revealing more about the park, and I'm going to be revealing more about the dog sitting that will be part of Paws by Rhonda, and I really want you to be a part of it. I really want you to support it. So please stay tuned, keep your notifications turned on for me, because there's going to be a lot more where that's coming from. Okay, guys, take care of yourself, and I'll be talking to you again soon. Bye.